I'm back. This is JD. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe. Please hit like. And please stop complaining about stuff. Not that you are. So the first thing I want to do in the reassembly here, the next step of part 3 of the reassembly is to put the pallet fork back. So I'm trying to be very careful here, although I got the camera is kind of in the way of stuff. So I need to be able to lower this from the ceiling so I never have to see it again, right? Keep that camera screwed onto the ceiling. There's the trick. So here's the pallet fork. I cleaned that up nicely, and I just want to make sure that it's nicely in place here. The dart is in excellent condition. The jewel is in excellent condition, so I just have to drop that in like that and get that pallet fork in the hole, which can be a challenge sometimes because you want to have the pallet fork in there. You don't want to fart with the pivots because the pivots can cause you problems if you bend them, for sure, right? So there we go. The pallet fork is in the pivot, and now I just have to lower. Let me look at the jewel here. I think we're good. I just need to lower the bridge down. So, and this is a funky looking bridge. It's a pretty high-end looking bridge, but it could also be a bit of a pain. There we go. Actually, that went down nicely. Once you put the bridge down, you're going to move the pallet fork back and forth to make sure it's not jammed at all, right? Then you can put the screws in nice and lightly. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the screws down, but I'm going to use my Bergeron stick to keep that bridge down while I lower the screws, or lower it and put the screws in, because I don't want the bridge to pop up again. I want it to be in place, and I want that pallet fork to be in place. So it's a bit tricky here. I may fumble a little bit here because I got the camera sticking in my face. So I'm just going to turn this around like that. Put that in place, and I'm going to just loosely tighten it because I want to make sure I can see the pallet fork pivots on both sides. So you have a chance of ruining stuff if you don't do that, right? So you just do that and be good. B-E-G-O-O-D. Line that screw up there, put that in place, and then I'm going to move the pallet fork again just to make sure it's in place. Just screw that screw down a little bit. Yeah, I don't think there's an issue. I think the bridge is down. Let me move this around again. Yeah, that's nice. Move that around again. And you just have to keep an eye on the pivots all the time, because nothing more disappointing than breaking a pivot. So that's a really nicely done and in good shape. So that's done. And now I know for a fact that this Mobius 9415 oil is gold, Jerry. It's gold. So you want to be able to put that on the pallet fork jewels. So all I'm going to do is just get a little tiny dabble-do-ya here, a little dabble-do-ya, and I'm going to put that on the jewel face on both of them. Because this stuff here is gold, Jerry. It's a great little lubricant that helps reduce the friction with the lock and unlock of the stones, with the feet of the escape wheel. And I've learned not to call it the escapement, which I used to call it before. So the escape wheels. I'm just putting stuff away. And normally I take a picture of the watch so I can kind of understand where the components go. But I'm going to do this freelance. So the first wheel that's going to go in here is the escapement wheel, right? The escapement wheel. And I believe it goes in like this. So it goes in low because the escape wheel feet need to merge with the stones and the pallet fork. So it goes in just like that. And again, I'm filming here, so I'm having a biatch of a time trying to get this thing in without moving the camera. Okay, there we go. That's in there. The second one that goes in is this here is the seconds hand wheel. So I'm looking at this wheel here, and I think I'm going to dab some Rodico on it, on the pivot. It looks like it's got something on it. It might be leftovers from the last watchmaker. Who knows? And that's good there. So that's going to go straight down into the jewel hole. And the wheels look nice and clean. The wheels on the bus look nice and clean. So that the pinion of the escape wheel here interfaces with the teeth of the fourth wheel. So now the next one that goes in needs to be the third wheel, this one here. And this one usually goes in, it rides high usually. So, and it goes in like this, and again the wheel, the pinion of the fourth wheel rides against the wheels, the teeth of this wheel, like that. Just like that, my friends. And then last but not least, and I'm hoping I did it right, then the center wheel will go in on top of all of this. And I probably want to put the barrel in first before I put in the center wheel, right? And the reason for that is that the barrel, this is the mainspring barrel here, it needs to slide under here and go in. So it's not, this is not that difficult a barrel to put in. On some watches they're just a pain, like full plate pocket watches. The barrel is, you're suicidal by the time you get that barrel in. And all watchmakers know that. So we're just going to put this straight down into the hole here, like that. And I believe it's just like that without a problem. Just like that. And these gears will end up meshing perfectly after I get everything together. And now I'm going to put in the top plate that goes over the this here. So before I put that in, I need to deal with the stem. So it needs to, it's going to go in like this, like that, but I want to put a little bit of oil on it first. So I'm going to put a little bit of D5 oil in the stem. You don't need to put a lot on here, you just want it to be smooth when it engages. A little bit there, a little bit there, and I already put some on the plate on the inside. So I think we're okay. But then I want to also, I don't need to actually, but I'm going to put a little tiny bit here on the square part of the stem. Right on there, there, and there. And that'll work itself around a little bit on the other side. And there we go. That's the pieces of the stem. So that's it. That oil is on there. And now I'm going to lay that stem on top. And hopefully I don't have any issues. right? I'm hoping and praying. This is where in watchmaking you're hoping and praying. You don't normally do that, but I tend to. So here we go. I'll lift that up, and under the pressure of camera photography, I'm going to put this right down here. And with any luck, this will feed in nicely here. And I may need to fart with the thing down here to make sure that's lined up properly. But I'll throw the plate down first and then I'll fart with it. How does that sound? Do the farting later. And I want to put a little tiny bit of oil on the plate as well. So let's just do that. And right in there. And right in there. That's good there. And I'm going to actually put a little oil on the base of the jewel. So I think I moved my camera a bit, but right there. That's good. Enough oil, enough, I tell you. Now I'm going to put the plate straight down. I think I've got everything in place. And there we go. And now I just need to nudge stuff. So my favorite part of the whole watchmaking is nudging. So I just need to nudge the wheels so they're in the right place. And usually when you nudge them, there you go, the plate falls into place. So that's not too bad there. I'll put the screws in lightly now, and then I'll flip this around to make sure that the winding mechanism is sitting down properly, right? So you want to just take these screws and put them in lightly. So don't push them down hard, just put them in lightly. Or don't tighten them hard. Put them down nice and lightly. So somebody said my videos are pretty good because they're so instructional, right? Other videos tend to be just bam, bam, bam. I love you, but I'm not going to teach you anything. So again, when you put these screws in, don't put them in tight. This is nice and loose, right? I'm going to put this in loose as well. And I turn them back a bit until the thread catches, and I'm going to put them down. If I feel any pressure here at all, I just let go. Like that. Turn it back the other way. And get this one in here, like that. So that's that. And just so I don't dump everything, I'm going to put the other plate on, like this. And please don't give me shit for not wearing a glove on the other hand, okay? I don't need that kind of pressure. Okay, where's this going here? Seems to be falling in place only on one side. Where's that knob? I completely missed it, I think. I think I've got to go over more or something. Or the other way more. Let me look at the other side here. Now there's the knob there. And that's where the screw goes. And there's the other one, and that's where that screw goes. So if I do this, it should just fall into place, right? Right? Come on, do it. Yes and no. Come on, get in there. For some reason, this one doesn't want to go down. I'll have to investigate. It seems like when I get one down on one side, the other side goes up. So these Lancasters, I think the aircraft were great, but the watches weren't so good. No, that's in there now, I think. So So what I'm going to do is put the screws in super loosely, right, like I did last time. And because I know I don't have the pivots aligned yet, I don't want to put undue pressure on pivots. That's not a good plan. Just put one in like that, and then the other one can go in here. And I hope this is nice and relaxing for everybody out there in watch repair land, that watching me do this stuff isn't freaking you out, Jerry. It's freaking me out. So I'm going to look at this now because I've got the plates down, but I just want to make sure I don't have any pressure on the pivots, right? So I got my funny tool here that I use for jabbing and moving stuff, so I can just move stuff around and not worry about it. I can see that wheel. There's some pressure on that wheel right there, which is not good. So I'm going to back this off a bit and actually see if I can get a little space there. And then try to get that, just try to nudge that over a little bit. This is tricky because this particular movement doesn't seem to want to fall into place like the other ones do. I may have to lift it up too, so it may go out of camera. I just want to make sure that that pivot is not going to get, and it's sort of squeezing the wrong way there, so to lift that up and then move it. Yeah, this little pivot's going to be a pain in the ass. So I'm going to go off camera and play with it until I get that pivot in. Alright, this is one of the most painful plates I've ever installed. It's because the plate is really tight on here, so it's making it extremely difficult to actually line up the two pegs that are on the inside with the holes and then push it down. I've never had this kind of problem before with a plate like this, so it's odd but true. I'm trying to get my glove on here. So yeah, anyway, what a pain in the butt. But I got the escape wheel is sitting in there nicely. I just need to make sure that the other wheel is going down there nicely as well. So, and I think that it needs to move into place here. I think I can see the top of it right now, so if I can put the screw in before it moves, and it's all good. What a painful plate. Oh my God. This is more painful than a full plate watch this time. I don't know why, because it shouldn't have been painful at all. There it is there. And I see the two pivots there, and I'm just going to turn this just a little bit and take a piece of pegwood and move this. And all the wheels are moving. Thank be to God. So what was I wanting to do before? I was wanting to flip this thing over just to make sure that the winding mechanism is in the right place. So I look down here, and it looks like it needs to move over ever so slightly. So just going to push that like this. There we go. Now it's in the right place, like that. And now I'm just going to put this straight down on the carpet here, because I've got nothing sticking up, which is good. Here you got to keep your eye out for that fourth wheel pivot, because that's where the action is. So given that I got this like that, I'll get out some oil here, and I'm going to just put a little bit right in here, because that's where there's some friction, as this is a lever set movement, so when you do this, there's friction. So you want to make sure you're reducing the amount of friction, so you're also reducing the amount of wear. So that will help right there. And all this here is pretty much good. But I also want to just a little bit of Rodico in this fourth wheel here. It looks a bit messy for some reason. I don't know why, but it might be because when the watch is running, there's a hole in the top of the plate, and that's where this pivot goes through. So, but it should have gotten rid of this stuff in the cleaning machine. But we're good now, and I just want to put the smallest bit of oil on the base of that right here, but you don't want that oil to ride up, because it'll ride up and hit the watch hand, and then the watch hand will get loose. So you don't want that to happen. So, but a little tiny bit of oil on the base is fine. And then I'm going to put a little tiny bit of oil on this as well, right here. And that's where the cannon pinion is going to go over the top of that, which should be really nicely working. And I want a little bit of oil right here, and I oiled that on the other side earlier, but that's where the mainspring, the arbor for the mainspring sticks up through here, and that's fine. It's all depending on the type of oil. I'm not going to tell you all the oils I'm putting on here, but they're different types. So I'll put a little bit of oil down here, and that'll spread around as it turns and winds, and then a little bit of oil right there. And that should be good right there. So that's in there nicely. As you can see, the mechanism works, which is good. G-O-O-D. Pretty happy with that. And I want to check to make sure this screw is actually in nice and tight. It didn't loosen up. And this one didn't loosen up either. And that's good there. So that's all nice. So let me flip this around again. Put this in the Myers number 58 movement holder. I should be a salesman for the Myers number 58 movement holders. So there we go, Lancaster 17 joules. So that's all good. Now I just need to tighten these plates down because everything seems to be in order. So this has got 3 screws to tighten down. 1, 2, and 3. So that's nice and tight. And now the ratchet wheel and the clicks, the ratchet wheel and the crown wheel can go in now. I'll be a good boy and put the ratchet wheel in first. And it's an interesting wheel. It's got it interfaces with this gear here as it turns, right? So for winding the watch. And it just kind of goes in like this, like that. And then there's a big screw, and the screw is going to go in backwards. So we're going to be threading that backwards. I believe this is the right screw here. So let me see if I'm right. I think this one was backwards. So I have to tighten it the opposite way. Yeah, see that? It's not righty-tighty, whatever you call it. Loosey. And this should be free. See how that's free in motion? So that's free. Just move this up, and then I'm going to put it a little bit closer here for you. So that's free, right, as you tighten this. And I tighten this and give it a good, not super tight, but give it a good squeeze on it, just so you make sure it's in place. You don't need to oil that, by the way. So now I'm going to put the ratchet wheel in. So I got the screw just sitting there, right? Minding its own business. So this wheel should just go straight in like this, and you got to get the click spring out of the way. And a big thank you to whoever told me how to name this wheel, because I typically don't talk to myself and tell me what the parts are as I'm putting the thing back together again. I'm just using a piece of Rodico to hold that in place while I get the spring out of the way. Now this has got to line up on the top with the mainspring barrel. So I got to make sure that that lines up. And I'm not sure if that's lined up. Oh, look at that. That is lined up right there. Although this wheel isn't. So there we go. Look at that. Perfectly lined up. And now when I put this on here, like that, that's perfectly done. And then put that on, and I'm just going to, I always do a little praying when I first wind up the watch to make sure that the mainspring doesn't slip. That can happen, and it's very depressing. So I'm actually winding the watch right now, but with the screw like that. And now when I touch the pallet fork, it should snap back and forth. Alright, keep your eye on the pallet fork, and let's see if that snaps back and forth. There we go. That's what I call perfection. Now I can do this a few times to get the lubricant to move to all of the feet of the escape wheel. Right, and that way I know I've got a good contact. Like that. So I think I'm going to end this video right here, and I'm going to have to do some work with the balance. So let me move this out of the way and show you, because I want to get the balance in there. Here's the balance. So I've got to strip that down and clean the cap of that balance, and then get it all in place and get it working. So that's it for this video. I'm going to put it up, and hope you enjoyed it. This is part 3.